Come on in, guys. Welcome to Idled Out, where we talk all things Survivor. My name is Luke, and today we're talking about Survivor's greatest heel turns. People who started the game portrayed well, but ended the game as a villain. Maybe the hunger or the elements got to them, or maybe their ego just got overblown. Maybe they were with some really annoying people and just couldn't help themselves. Either way, there are 5 that stand out to me as players who started the game as lovable underdogs, but just couldn't resist the lure of the dark side. You know, something, die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain. I'll be keeping this to single season arcs only. Perhaps we can save people who evolved from hero to villain across multiple seasons for another day. All that said, let's rank Survivor's top 5 heel turns. The 5th greatest single season heel turn is Chrissy in Survivor Heroes vs. Healers vs. Hustlers. Chrissy started the game on the hero tribe, so you know I'm at least not making up that part. As one of the heroes, a role she was put in because she's a strong woman and broke the glass ceiling for women in STEM and is a supermom. These are Probst's words, not mine. Chrissy began the game as a likable and relatable player, aligning with the other mom on Hero Beach, Katrina. After the first immunity challenge, which the heroes heroically lost, Chrissy throws up from exhaustion, which is actually portrayed positively as a monument to the heroes and Chrissy's stick-to-itiveness. But after the swap, Chrissy begins her descent into villainy. It's around this time that Chrissy develops a bad habit of only talking to people when she needs something from them, epitomized by her interactions with Rourke. After they lose immunity, Chrissy pitches Rourke on an alliance, since it kind of looks like Chrissy is the next to go, and Rourke is super skeptical since this is the first time Chrissy is talking game with her. So instead, Chrissy fabricates an all-girls alliance to get JP to target Rourke instead, which, to be fair, probably wasn't the most difficult task in the world.
What are you thinking?
The 4 of us get together and vote out Rourke.
I think she's good in the challenges, though, too.
Rourke wants to do an all-girls alliance.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, she's gotta go.
After the merge, she fluctuated between arrogant when in power and vindictive when she's not. By the end game, when she's pretty well back in the driver's seat, she's literally laying in the shelter, beckoning Ben over to threaten him with her expired idol. Yeah, this is just not a good look. Personally, I find villain Chrissy a lot more fun than nice Chrissy, but not everyone on the jury did, and she got second place to Ben. The 4th greatest heel turn in Survivor history is Ty in Survivor Co. Wrong. Okay, so I know you're like, what? Across his 2 seasons, Ty has been shown to be literally the most wholesome, lovable, kindest human being to ever play Survivor, maybe to ever live. He was literally on the beauty tribe in a Brains Brawn beauty tribe division for his inner beauty. But let me explain. At the start of Survivor Co. Wrong, Ty was absolutely beloved by his tribe mates. He had an unlikely friendship with Caleb. He had an unlikely friendship with Mark the Chicken. But Ty has a kryptonite, and it's that he somehow ends up aligned closely with the biggest villains of the season. And in Co. Wrong, that was Scott and Jason, 2 Russell Hantz wannabes who, outgunned at Final 9, begin hiding machetes and putting out fires. Did these guys not know that's a losing strategy? Did they only watch the first half of Survivor Samoa? Anyway, they loop Ty in on their trickery as well, and he puts the tribe's fire out himself the next night. It's super shocking because Ty is, up to this point, literally the greatest. And then at Final 8, Ty swings back to the good side, but inadvertently shows he has no loyalty whatsoever when he decides not to give Scott the other half of their super idol, which can be read after the votes, even though he said he would. What's interesting about Ty, though, is that even if his game was, on paper, villainous at times, his social game never really changed from the early days. He was always lovable Ty, but somehow just gets roped into these villainous schemes. Either way, Ty made it to Final 3, and the jury loved the man, but couldn't respect the gameplay, and he ended up as a 0-vote finalist. The 3rd greatest hero turned villain ever is John Mish from Survivor San Juan del Sur. John played opposite his fiancée Jacqueline, and for the first half of the season was literally a puppy dog in human form. Seriously, you can't convince me that John Mish and a golden retriever didn't accidentally get their DNA crossed in some sort of The Fly-esque teleportation pod.
you a female? Let's go. Wish I had a tail.
He's a really unique character to watch, because I'm almost envious of how amazing and interesting he finds every little thing in the world. And he's really lovable until the final 10 of San Juan del Sur, when he and Jacqueline, now at the merge, decide to take out their close ally Jeremy. This infuriates Natalie, who was super tight with Jeremy, and begins her rest of season Kill Bill style revenge story. At Final 7, John, Jacqueline, and Natalie win a wine and spaghetti in bed reward, and John can't help but share his love of wine, which just comes off entitled and snobby to Natalie, even though this is a passion he shares with his very sick father.
But he is always trying to pretend like he knows everything, and the arrogance or the entitlement John has. Honestly, every time he talks about wine, I just want to be like, shut up. It was torture, basically.
That's not to mention his literal day-long argument with Jacqueline, which began as a minor strategic disagreement, but steamrolled into the two refusing to talk to each other for the entire day. And as the swing votes, this essentially shut down strategy until moments before Tribal Council. John's heel transformation was completed when his own ego got the better of him, as he went home the same day he began practicing his final Tribal Council speech, apparently believing his win was a foregone conclusion. Whoops. The second best heel turn in Survivor history is Jane in Survivor Nicaragua. Jane started the game on Espada, the old tribe in this Young v Old tribe division, and at the beginning of the game was one of their most valuable members, shown as a very sympathetic character who's had kind of a rough go in life, and the person for whom the money would make the biggest difference. She's also got a rock-solid work ethic and is really resourceful, even making fire with her reading glasses. But somewhere along the way, she begins this bizarre one-sided feud with Marty, the reasons for which I still don't entirely understand. Around the time of the swap, pretty much every word Jane says is about how god-awful Marty is.
Tree Mail showed up, so I'm hoping the gods up there that we pray to keep the good in and triumph over the evil. There's only one really seriously evil, diabolical person in this game right now, and that's Marty.
I don't know, Jane. He seems like a pretty cool dude to me. She became laser focused on eliminating him, almost to the detriment of her own game. Then Jane, at her most cruel, gives Marty the meanest nickname ever seen on Survivor.
The jackass name Mr. Farty is gonna be his name from now on instead of Marty in my book.
Okay, Jane, go to the principal's office. Jane's turn to the dark side is completed when, at Final 6, she's pretty much told she's going home, and so decides to put out the tribe's fire on her way out the door as retribution. This all didn't stop America, apparently suffering from collective amnesia, from giving Jane the fan favorite award of the season, though. The greatest heel turn in Survivor history is Kenny in Survivor Gabon.
I'm gonna pick the big homie with all the game right there. I don't know your name.
My name's Ken.
Ken, my bad. All right, Ken.
Kenny started on Fong, literally one of the most dysfunctional tribes in Survivor history. But he knew how to work the social game, playing up his persona of nerdy, kind of awkward pro gamer, and that automatically made him one of the more rootable people in the early days of Gabon. Although, that's not saying much. In the first 3 days, he develops an alliance/crush on Michelle, romantically eating termites with her. In fact, Ken's in good with pretty much everyone on his tribe, and despite being one of the weaker people physically, he's never in much danger of going home because his social game is so on point. Except for the random tribe that existed for a day at Final 10, Ken spent his entire pre-merge game on Fong, and honestly deserves props for just getting through that with his sanity still intact. And as we enter the end game, Kenny's been playing a pretty great strategic game, taking out power players like Ace and Marcus. Because of that, Kenny gets drunk with power, and his plans get too cute by half when he tries to trick Bob into giving him his immunity so that he can vote Bob out. This is Kenny at his absolute cockiest, both in strategy and personality. Then when Bob, doesn't give up immunity so he can get voted out, Kenny actually gets mad at Bob. He's even still upset about this at the next tribal council, completely pounding the table on Bob being somehow untrustworthy because he didn't fall for the old Ken combo. Kenny goes out here at Final 5, his arc fully completed from lovable underdog to villain with the perfect downfall. Got nothing else for you. To keep me from going full heel and putting out the fire, like and subscribe, and I'll get you more Survivor content just like this. Until next time, don't get idled out.